Hey, what's up? My name is Tristan. I sold 5 houses in the month of May with 4 different lead sources. We're gonna go over exactly how I got the lead, the objections I had to overcome, and how we closed them. The idea is by the end of this video, you'll be able to walk away with like an exact tactical piece of advice that'll help you go get your own business. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first one is easily the most important house we're gonna talk about because the lesson that I learned actually literally helped me sell 2 houses to the same person in May as well. Also, this one's a referral. This is my first referral as well, but the rest of them are completely cold prospecting, and you'll get so much tactical advice on how I prospected them, how I talked to them, the way I got the business, the way I got the appointment, all the other good stuff, but this is the foundation. So first I'm gonna talk about how I got the referral and taught the referee to give me the referral. Then I'm gonna talk about all the obstacles we had to overcome in order to sell this house, and then the story behind it. So first, it's obviously a referral. I got these really nice business cards, and I don't make a ton of business cards. The business cards are super high-end luxury, and like literally $1 per business card plus shipping. They look crisp, they fit in your wallet just perfect, like it's insane. So I don't give these business cards out to everyone. I give them out to like referral partners or affiliates or like friends, family, like somebody I really think is actually gonna hand out the business card. And I kind of train them whenever I do it. I say, oh, here you go, like, you know, if anyone needs a realtor, please use this. And also look, it fits in a wallet just perfect. Isn't that insane? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll put it in my wallet. Like, yeah, that's awesome. I think you should. And then I say, hey, look, if anyone ever wants to buy, sell, or invest and they're just looking for a realtor, I just ask that you just pull out the business card and be like, hey, shoot them a call whenever you get a chance. The card will do itself, and then their personal connection with this person will obviously sell the rest. He finally calls me. I go to his house and we talk about how much we can get for his house. Like it's like worth 300 to 335. I think it's closer to like 3 to 315. But the land could push it at 335, but the house doesn't really support the land, you know, really weird situation. So we talk about listing their house, and then after their house is listed, we go looking for houses. And it's houses that this guy could like easily afford, like it's nothing. Like I know he can afford it, he knows he can afford it, he's just not buying any of them. So I go to my coach / mentor, I'm like, dude, this guy won't buy a thing. And he's not picky, he just like won't buy it. Like what's going on? And he's like, oh, they're just scared. And I'm like, what do you mean he's scared? Like he makes plenty of money. Like, no, look, dude. Based on what you're telling me, the DISC profile, D-I-S-C, he's a C. And in the C category, they're very analytical. They have to know all the facts, all the figures, all the numbers. And if that doesn't make sense, it's too vague and they're not gonna do it. So you have to go over all that stuff with them. So I said, what do you mean? Like literally draw out their budget? He's like, if you have to, whatever you gotta do. They have got to know exactly all the numbers before they make a decision. So here's one lesson, always have a mentor, always have a coach, because those people have already been through everything you're gonna go through, and either A, you can go through it too over 30 years, or you can ask this person and cut that 30-year learning gap to like 6 months. So I just recommend just go to get a coach mentor. The second thing is learn about personality types, because everyone's wired differently. You have D's, you have I's, you have S's, you have C's. And learning about each of those lets you know how to approach that person. So I call this guy up, we have a second listing consultation, because he likes all these houses, but he's not willing to drop his price, which by the way, we like overlisted his house because he really wanted to try it. Then he wouldn't budge on the house, but he needed to in order to sell it. And I don't want to just keep asking some guy to like, you know, drop the house price. He's not comfortable with it. That's just not my thing. Like if I could show you how to get into another house, despite how much we get for your house, the payment makes sense. Everything makes sense. You love this house. The house price is awesome, despite how much we can get for your house. Is there any reason you wouldn't want to hear it out? He's like, oh, no, please help me, because I actually do want to buy this house. And essentially that's what he's saying. He's like, I'm just scared. I don't know how to do it. So I was like, all right, let's go over if we got your house for 300,000, because that's really what I think it's worth. Like worst case scenario, 300,000. This is how much you would have to pay. And this is how much you would need to put down for this house. So what's stopping us? I'm gonna give out the real raw numbers. We're gonna lay it out. His house, he owed $220,000. His total payment was $1,300 a month. Really good interest rate. The first car he owned, $17,000 of debt, and it was a $700 a month payment. This is very important. Second car, he only owed $6,000, but his payment was $450. His 401k loan, he owed $14,000, but it was a $1,000 a month payment. It was insane. So total debt, $257. His total payment on all of his debt, all of his payments was $3,450 roughly. I'm probably out 20 or 30 bucks off, whatever. So then I said, if we get $300,000 for your house, obviously we have to pay off your loan. So we pay off the loan for $220,000. That gives you about $80,000 to deal with. Also, side note, he has $10,000 in the savings. He didn't want to use it if he didn't have to, but like he was totally open to it. So we found a house, and this guy wants to put down 20%. So what does that math tell you? 300,000 minus 220,000 leaves him $80,000. That means he can buy a $400,000 house if you put down 20%. That's also assuming that the seller pays all your closing costs. So that means all your cash can actually go to the down payment and not the closing costs, right? If you include a savings, you can buy a house upwards of $450,000 because you take $90,000 divided by 0.2, and that's a $450,000 house that you can put down 20%, not including closing costs. Okay, so keep in mind. We'll come back to that debt in a second. So we found a house that he was in love with. I mean, everything was great about this house. So then I was like, so what's stopping us? Like, really, what's stopping us? And he's like, the payment's $2,650. And I was like, that's awesome. I know you said you wanted to be under like $2,800. He's like, I just don't know if I can afford that. And so that $2,650, this is where all the numbers started to come into play, okay? That $2,650 number was from taking all $80,000, and it was a $430,000 house. So really, we had to take $6,000 out of savings, all $80,000 plus $6,000 in savings, $86,000, and put it as the down payment, so 20% to save on PMI. And the builder, it was a builder, was willing to pay all the closing costs. So all of his money could just go straight into the down payment. Then he had to pay $2,650. This is the part that really matters about his debts. And this is why it's important to write out everything else, because we found out it's really a $2,650 payment plus car 1, car 2, 401k loan for a total of a $4,800 payment. So then I said, how about this? This is gonna sound insane, but I have an explanation for you afterwards. What if we take that $80,000 that you were gonna have, instead of putting down 20%, only put down 10%? And then the payment would be $3,100. He said,
What?
so why would that make sense? And I was like, just listen. That $2,650 number, plus your car, plus your other car, plus your 401k loan, is really $2,650 plus all those other expenses for a total of $4,800. Is that why it feels stressful to you? You really can't afford $4,800? And I was like, all right, so listen to this. We put down 10%, it's only $43,000. Of the $80,000 you make, you put $43,000 down on this house. And then that means you have $37,000 left to play with. So then you take that $17,000 to pay off car 1. You take another $6,000 to pay off car 2, and then you also pay off that 401k loan. So really your payment is $3,100. Like, it's a true $3,100. It's not $2,650 plus all of your other debts for a total of $4,800. This is where the light bulb went off. If we could sell your 50-year-old house that keeps having problems, that you keep having to fix, we get you into a brand new construction that's closer to work, that's closer for your daughter, that's super convenient for the location, and it's an amazing house, and it's brand new, so you don't have to worry about any of the other nonsense. You can just literally move in. And you go from a total payments of $3,450, house, car 1, car 2, 401k loan, down to $3,100. Is there any reason you wouldn't want to do it? And he said, so you're telling me I can sell a 50-year-old house, get into a brand new house that's double the size, by the way, closer to work, closer for my daughter, pay off all my other debt, and the payment is gonna be $350 cheaper, and the only downside is I have to pay PMI? I was like, that's exactly right. He's like, where do I sign? Instantly. It wasn't until we laid out all the numbers on pen and paper, and instead of using all that money as a down payment, using some of that money to pay off smaller debts with big payments to bring his payment down to a much smaller level, that everything made sense. And it wasn't until we put it on pen and paper and I was in person and said, this is what it would be like, that he said, holy crap, let's buy this, and the only way to buy this is let's drop the price of this house. Then it's his idea. Now we need to drop the price to this much, so then we can actually sell this house, because once we sell this house, we can actually buy this house. Now he's excited. So instead of me telling him, hey, you need to drop your price to sell, he said, I want to buy this house, and the only way to buy this house is to sell this house. The only way to sell this house is actually to sell it at $300, which is really what it's worth. That's what we did. All right, so the next house, and this one, I actually will include a picture of it because I think it's pretty cool to go along with the video so you know exactly which house I'm referring to. But this house up in the corner was pretty awesome because it's a FSBO that I met literally just about a year ago. And you're like, holy crap, you followed up with him for a year. I did. That's what's gonna separate the people who don't sell any houses a month to 5 houses a month, because I will relentlessly follow up with these people. This guy, in very specific, he was a for sale by owner. I went to his house because I had a potential buyer, but I really didn't think this buyer was gonna work out. I was very clear and upfront, but I was like, hey, I think I have somebody. I don't know if it'd actually really work out, but like, this may work out and it's at least worth going to check out. Is there any reason you wouldn't wanna meet? He's like, no, come on by. By the way, I didn't even wanna go, like, at all. And I'm just talking myself out of it because it's a for sale by owner. He doesn't wanna pay commission, like all this stuff, like all the reasons why I don't wanna do it. But anyways, I just did it. So I was like, said, screw my emotions, I just do it anyways. Went to his house, I walked through the whole thing. I was like, holy crap, this is actually a really nice house. Looks even better. The pictures don't show off how awesome this house is. And I wasn't even pitching him on a listing, by the way, like at all. I was just like trying to help this guy sell his house because he's a really cool guy. And so then I was like, yeah, cool, awesome, you have a good day. We left. 2 hours later, he calls me back. He's like, hey, actually, can you list my house? And I was like, holy crap, like that's a for sale by owner calling me to list their house. Like that's never happened. That was really weird. And so I was like, yeah, sure. Then I went, listed his house. This one was a very hard sell. It was a unicorn, beautiful house, but it's a hard sell. It's a really hard sell. It literally sat for a year and eventually just ended up selling in May. And we started way too high on price. I mean, just massively, massively too big, because the rest of this neighborhood was selling really high. I mean, 1 million, 1.2 million, all these houses. So we started in the same area because, you know, price per square foot at least, you know, somewhat close, but people did not like this house. So for many different reasons, a lot of different feedback, and eventually we got a contract, we sold this house. This one's nice and easy. The real lesson for this one is, for sale by owners, sometimes just want to try it out. Like, I just picked up the phone, I just called this guy. I had a genuine, like really just want to help this guy. Like, have you heard of this? Have you talked about, have you tried video? Like anything to try to help him sell his house, and just trying to help this guy. And then he was like, you know what? Let me call him back 2 hours later, because he's already been listed for a while, it just wouldn't sell. That's like the big lesson is, sometimes, like, you're obviously taught in real estate, like, go pitch everyone, and sometimes it works. Sometimes it does work. Sometimes you just really help these guys when they just want to list with you. So the next house, which is this one, up in the top corner, super beautiful house, by the way. This guy, super awesome, really cool, like just war story, military guy, awesome dude. Was for sale by owner. Went to his house. Just this time, I didn't really have a buyer. I just wanted to see the house and then build a relationship with this guy. Maybe he lists with me down in the future. Maybe he doesn't, but just wanted to build a relationship with this guy. And he ended up keeping it for sale by owner for a very long time, but then went with another agent. And when he went with the other agent, I asked him, I said, you know, hey, if by chance this house doesn't sell sometime in the future, would you at least give me a shot? He's like, you're the guy I'm gonna call. And I said, cool. And you know, it's a military guy. When they give you the word, they're gonna give you the word. I didn't think anything of it though, because this house is beautiful, great price. You really thought it was gonna sell. So I was just like, you know what, count it. I kind of just counted it off, but I would follow up with him every now and then, and I would just provide some value. And again, not trying to steal his business, not soliciting to him, didn't even talk about real estate other than, you know, my house sold. Eventually he had a fallout with his agent and called me back. And I was out of the country, but he called me back and said, hey, you know, this didn't work out with this other agent. I said I'd give you a shot. Come please, like, sell my house. So as soon as I got back in the country, went to his house and listed it. And I told him realistically, like, hey, by this point, there was a couple different comps that made his house worth a little bit less. And I said, hey, I think this is where you need to be. Not the news you wanted to hear, but I shot him straight. And he really appreciated it as like a military guy. Like, this is really where we need to be. And he's like, all right. So we listed it, then sold it. And that one puts one in the books. So there's two bigger lessons. One, keep following up with people and just plant a seed in their head. If it doesn't happen, cool. Like, I at least made a good relationship out of this guy. Even if it did sell, I would still follow up with him and just ask this guy like how he's doing and happy Father's Day and all this, because he's a cool guy. And I planted the seed. So just in case, you know, would you at least give me a shot? He's like, yeah, I would give you a shot. The second lesson I learned was, at the listing appointment, just be straight up with these people. Like, they just really want a professional advice. And they were just overpriced. I mean, honestly, at some point they were just overpriced. And so I told them straight up, I could have BS'd them, I could have went around the bush. And I said, you need to clean your house, just make it look sharper. And then it's a little too much overpriced. And so, like, I was like, it sucks to hear. And he's like, yeah, it does suck, but I'll get it done. So we cleaned his house, we listed it for less, and it sold. And that's what caused it to sell. So following up with this guy for nearly 10 months, what was it, 10, 11 months, and eventually it sold. So it sold. Okay, so for the last two houses, they go together because it's the same client, and one wouldn't happen without the other, and I'll explain why in a second, it'll make sense. But it's these two houses, and they're awesome. This one I got through circle prospecting. So the way I circle prospect, I have a dialer system that I can plant a pin and draw out this big circle. And in this circle, it'll give me every single person's name, address, email, spouse. It gives me way too much information. So whenever I use the word circle prospecting, that's what I mean. Before I explain how I actually got this listing, it's important, the setup, the context behind it. I went randomly door knocking in this neighborhood, found somebody that's looking to downsize, but they want to stay in Flowery Branch. So they're looking for a ranch in Flowery Branch. They're super picky. They only will move if everything makes sense, if everything's perfect. I don't care. What they do give me is an excuse to go door knock and cold call looking for a ranch in Flowery Branch. So I go door knocking in a very specific neighborhood that I want to be in. I want to do a lot of business because it's a relatively new neighborhood, but it was built in 2020. Everyone bought the house for like half as much as what it's worth now. Everyone bought the house like for $220, $250. 5 years later, it's worth like $400, $415. So they have like $150,000, $180,000 of equity. So there's a lot of people, there's a lot of turnover in this neighborhood because they have a lot of equity. Very important. So I go knock on the door, someone comes out, and I said, hey, I actually have a buyer, I'm a real estate agent, who's looking to buy a ranch in Flowery Branch. have you thought about moving? And then they say, okay, because they speak Spanish. They had no clue what I just said. I just instantly pull out my phone and call a Spanish-speaking realtor. And I said, hey, I'm at a door right now. So they're literally looking me in the face as I talk to you. Can you translate what I'm saying to them? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I translate what I'm saying to them. So then I go through the whole script with this Spanish-speaking realtor on the phone. They say what I'm saying to that person, then that person says it back to my translator, and then they say to me. And eventually I just get to the point where I say, hey, I would love to take some photos and videos of your house and send it to the buyer. If they're interested, we can move forward like that. If not, I can show you how much we can get on the market. I don't even know what they're saying. Like, I know some Spanish, I can comprehend it, but I have no clue what they're saying. So I 50-50'd the deal with the Spanish realtor. We went to the listing appointment, which by the way took 3 hours because I did all the talking to the translator, translator to the seller, seller to translator, translator to me. Totally cool with it. But the lesson to learn is like, make it happen. Like, whatever it takes to get a deal done, make it happen. But now that I have a house listed in this neighborhood, because we listed it, so now I can go cold call the whole neighborhood because we've had tons of showings up to this point. Everyone loves this house, but only one person can buy it. And one person just went under contract and they're trying to buy it. So there's 10 to 15 other buyers who want to be in this neighborhood because there's showings. And if there's showings, that means there's people interested in that neighborhood, that house, or that lot, one of the three. So I hope all of these lessons really helped, because I used to hear people selling 5 houses and I was like, oh, there's no way, that's not true. Notice how none of these cost me money. Not a single one of them. The first one, referral. I guess it cost me that $1 business card. The second one, FSBO. Picked up a phone and called. The next one was same thing, just drive, FSBO/expired, whatever you want to call it. And then the fourth one and fifth one, if you include both, is circle prospecting, but that's as free as free gets. So I hope you learned a ton of like miniature lessons and big lessons, stuff that you could really tactically use to help grow your business. If you're looking for any kind of help, specific help, individual help, you can literally call or text me at 770-519-8145. That's literally my number. Like, I will text you right back. And if I can't take your call, I will text you and say, hey, I can call you in the morning at any time. Like, you can be like, hey, this is John Smith. I'm looking for help on getting leads with for sale by owners or expireds, or I have this lead, but I don't know how to convert them. Can you help me? I can walk you through all that stuff. And I have a call every single Thursday from 10:30 to 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. People come in all the time. They just talk about the things that's going on in their business. I help them grow their business. And we talk about how to overcome those leads, how to generate leads, how to convert leads, all this other stuff. Completely broker agnostic. We don't talk about brokerages. You just come, ask for help. I love talking to you guys. I would love to see you there. Put the link in the description. Anyways, my name is Tristan. I'm out.